what I said.
The Unholy Trinity are a trio of villains that Russell has made it evident will be facing down the Doctor in the Season 2 finale, Wish World, and the Reality War. But who is this Trinity? We've been theorising for weeks now, ever since we got the first mention of them. And after the Interstellar Song Contest this week's episode, we kind of went, oh, we know who the Unholy Trinity are. We've got two Ranis, not two Ronnies, very different things. We've got two Ranis and a Conrad. That makes three. There's your Trinity. And this was even seemingly confirmed over on the Doctor Who Instagram page. They said, meet the Unholy Trinity with a picture of that trio. So, video over, I guess, we know who the Unholy Trinity... No. Russell T Davies wanted to throw a spanner in the works, didn't he? So, he went over to Instagram and posted this, which we're gonna read through in a minute, but it all but confirms that there is an extra member. There is a returning villain who's possibly a god or a classic villain. They're coming back this week. Let's try and figure out who it is. Join me in today's video as we take a look at who on earth, or who in hell, the third member of the Unholy Trinity is. Before we do dive into what Russell said though, I asked you guys over in the community tab who you thought the third member of the Unholy Trinity is. In number one place, we have Omega. Come on, I'm holding out. He's literally best classic villain. If he comes back, I may cry. Hopefully with happy tears. Fingers crossed. Next up, we have the Trickster, who also, how banger would that be? That would be cool. We're going to explore all of these options as the video goes on. I'm just reading your guys' thing first. And 3% of you think the gods of Ragnarok. 21% of you, which is quite a large amount, think there's someone else. I'm just quickly looking through some comments here. The confused Adipose is the bi-generated member of the Trinity. That's true, it is on. Some people are suggesting maybe the Valyard. A lot of people are suggesting Missy as well. The Candyman from the 7th Doctor's era has got a shout out here. The Master, the Black and White Guardians, the Meddling Monk. Some people are even suggesting poor Belinda. But before we delve into all these theories, let's read what Russell actually said. How do we know there's a returning god coming up? Well, Russell said, next week, Wish World. Enemies old and new unite as the Doctor faces the Unholy Trinity. This is only 2/3 of the Trinity. The two Ranis count as one, because I say so. I mean, fair enough, Russell, fair enough. The third is lying in wait. Exactly 160 years away. So stand by. This is the big one. The first of a two-part finale. The Pantheon is stirring. Old friends are helpless, and the whole of reality is in danger as we hurtle towards May 24th, in the Rani's most terrifying experiment yet. Pity the fate of poor Frazu Zufall. And remember, a message is calling across time and space. Tables don't do that. Right, so what on earth is going on here? There are so many directions this could take, and so many little cryptic clues. Tables don't do that. What do tables not do? Someone in a live chat a while ago suggested tables don't set themselves, which ties in with our bonkers spoons theory. I mean, it's a stretch, it's a reach, but who knows? It's the best we've got so far. And this is also confirmed to be like the Rani's experiment. So are these ideas about the Rani using the space babies and maybe trying to bring back Time Lords possibly leading us in the right direction? What do they need Conrad for? I'm very intrigued. So let's work it out, right? Who could the third member of this Trinity be? Well, first theory, bit of a bonkers one, but we'll start there. Conrad is the Master. Or Conrad will turn out to be the Master. Mrs. Flood is going to count as her own entity, the Rani, and then Conrad is going to turn himself into the Master. Now, how does this work? Well, just like in the TV movie, we've seen the Master inhabit and take people's bodies before. I mean, we also saw it in The Keeper of Traken. Like, this is a thing that the Master does. And the last time we saw the Master, he was shrunk down into a little golden tooth. And a very mysterious hand picked up that tooth. If you look at the Rani's fingers in the latest episode, well, her fingernails in particular, you'll notice that they're the same shade of red on the fingernails as the hand that picked up the golden tooth. So what would the Rani potentially want with this golden tooth? Does she want to make the Master her servant? I mean, her and the Master have worked together in Mark of the Rani, but they were kind of like a bickering old married couple, so I don't know if he'd be her first port of call. But perhaps this ties into reviving the Time Lords and bringing as many Time Lords back as possible. She takes that golden tooth and extrapolates the Master's life force or whatever via one of her experiments into a willing host. This willing host is Conrad. Conrad maybe wants to become a Time Lord, wants to become the opposite of the Doctor. He did have an admiration for the Doctor as a kid, that whole lucky day thing. Sure, he went down a rabbit hole when he got older, but maybe his real desire is to be the Doctor, and maybe the Master's the closest he can get. There's also people talking about this idea that if that's what happens, maybe the Master bi-generated after John Sim, creating Missy and creating the Spy Master or Sacha Darwin Master. And that's why they're so drastically different in character. I'm not 100% sure on my thoughts or feelings towards that. It's a bit conspiratorial, but I mean, it would explain why Missy ends up the way she does, and why the Spy Master ends up evil after coming after Missy, or it's all getting complicated. But Michelle Gomez, Missy, is the other possibility for this unholy trinity. She was seen at the premiere for season 2 alongside people like Joe Martin, and at the time everyone was just like, oh, they're Doctor Who alumni, they're not going to be back in the series. But lo and behold, Joe Martin came back. Why couldn't Michelle Gomez? So you could have the Rani, Missy, and Conrad as your unholy trinity, perhaps, but I'm not sold on that. A little fun one to suggest here is we're going full meta, looking at the breaking of the fourth wall. That still hasn't been explained. What if the Rani has somehow clocked on to the fact she lives in a TV show, she's trying to break out of it? She summons an entirely separate trinity, the writers of the show: Stephen Moffat, Russell T Davies, and Chris Chibnall. Look, that's the most out there theory we've got today. I've said it. Do what you will with it. Our two final theories here, I think, are the most likely, and so do people in the poll. There were similar amounts of votes between Omega and the Trickster. I think potentially the Trickster's more likely, so we'll cover the Trickster last, but let's start with Omega. If Mrs. Flood is trying to bring back Time Lords, if that's her big experiment, bring back the Time Lords, do something with their genetic code, maybe she ties into Tecteun, who initially took the Timeless Child, used their life force, maybe she wants a similar thing with the Doctor now. Who else is a genius scientist that has a grudge against the Time Lords? Omega. Like, that man has beef to spare with the Time Lords. He's also a genius. He invented time travel. Like, it's down to him. He's been waiting, he wants revenge. Mrs. Flood comes along and goes, look, Gallifrey's destroyed, but why don't we start Gallifrey again in our image? Let's figure it out. Teams up with Omega, hey presto, there you go. There's not too much more to the theory other than that, other than he wants to be a god. Like, remember, in the Three Doctors, he literally yells, I should have been a god! Well, now with Russell T Davies' salt sprinkling, you can be. So that would make our unholy trinity Conrad, the Rani, and Omega. Pretty cool. And then our final theory for today. As ever, if you've got any more that make more sense, let me know in the comments. But the Trickster from the Sarah Jane Adventures. Now, you'll notice when the Rani, like, we know the Rani's back, right? The Rani got name-dropped 3 whole times in this era, building up, almost as if Russell's just prodding you going, remember this character, remember this character. First up, in Tales of the TARDIS, the Rani gets a full-on name drop from, I think, the 7th Doctor. Then, in The Giggle, it was cut from the final script, but Mel was originally going to have a whole paragraph where she's like, I remember when we were on the Kersha and the Rani did some evil plan. Then, in episode 1, Space Babies, no coincidence there, Space Babies, Unearthly Child, Rani, plan, boom. The Doctor just name drops the Rani. He's like the Conquisitor, the Rani. And who else has been name dropped a couple of times in this new era? the Trickster. In Tales of the TARDIS, Clyde is literally holding that little box thing that gives you memories of the Trickster or whatever it does. Ruby sung the Trickster's motif in The Devil's Chord. The Trickster is literally name-dropped and confirmed to be part of this pantheon in last season's finale, like he's the god of tricks or whatever. And the whole idea of Wish World, the Trickster basically grants wishes. He's not a genie, but he does the whole, like, if you do this for me, I'll do this for you. He's kind of like a scratch my back, I'll scratch your back kind of guy. So if Conrad and Mrs. Flood want their wish of bringing back Time Lords or whatever, the Trickster could do that, I reckon. Why not? He's a magical guy with powers. He could bring them back, but at a cost, at a price. What that price is, we don't know. Let me know if you've got any theories on what it could be in the comments down below. Who do you think the third member of this unholy trinity is? Yeah, we'll find out soon. Thank you for watching. Hope you did enjoy. As ever, if you did, please do remember, like, comment, subscribe, share, check me out on Patreon if you want. All of it really helps me out a lot. Thank you very much for the continued support of all of you out there, and goodbye.
Don't forget to click below and subscribe to the official Confused Adipose YouTube channel.
I will destroy you!
She's not seen a single episode.
No, I've watched your episodes.
Keep these sonic screwdrivers.
What else am I saying about the film? Don't watch this one.